culture, alternative culture, academic, university, students' culture, and these things do not die. They have their own lovers, but they do not reach a larger public. That's the case of American satirical periodical Mad, which started in the 50s, and in 71 it had a front page like this one. 1971. This country is out of order, White House. It was the time of the Vietnam War. 2 years ago, they had a cover of this kind. We stand by us. I'm with. It's not stupid. It's not the president. But stupid without the article means everybody who voted him. That's the point. The bill. What would be the bill? Concerned parties here are women and or pacifists in Croatia and Slovenia. Common interest, good taste, individual dignity, a level of consciousness, and peace. Common actions, none till today. Possible cooperation, unlimited. Space of actions, media, streets, roads, alternative institutions, state institutions, European community, United Nations. It's all open to us. Let's take it. At stake, one or more wars. Experience, our experience, rich and recent. So the message would be for this, as you will soon see, a very short presentation. You can vote for this one, or, which is more realistic, this one. Whichever course we take, whichever style we choose, I think that the common action of women of Croatia and Slovenia is now necessary to decarnivalize the space, maybe with another carnivalesque action. But it's surely necessary, and co-presentation has one aim: to initiate this action and to make a conference or an action or whatever we can do to ridiculize, to diminish, to dissipate the idea of war between Slovenia and Croatia. Thank you.
Thank you. We now arrive at our fourth speaker, Marlene Tuninga. She was born in Holland, raised in the Antilles, the United States and Holland. She immigrated to France at the age of 20, where she studied politics and journalism while working as a model. She started her journalistic career at the age of 30, got married and raised 3 children, and worked for 35 years in different Catholic news magazines which took her to different parts of the world. Since retirement, continues to work as a journalist for non-violent movements and to publish books, now for free. And her topic will be what I earned from women in the South.
Okay, well, the so-called international language, which to my regret is English and not French, made a mistake here and didn't earn anything. My book has been published in 1,000 copies only, and it was translated, which is called Women Against War. It was translated in Italian and in Arab, not in Slovenian, and not in Spanish, and not in English. And it has sold very badly. So I didn't earn anything. I learned a lot. And I realized that I learned, maybe I shouldn't talk here, because what I learned was not in conflict situations, but in post-conflict situations. Now, many women among others, a friend I had in Georgia said, post-conflict and pre-conflict are conflict. So let's go with this. I'm also, I must say, a woman in black in France against occupation of Palestine, and I'm also the president of the French section of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom since a year only. Quite new to me. Now, what I will say, I don't say it as all the people who talked before me as academics, but as a woman who observes and who tries to understand what is happening as a journalist. And I must say that, to quote the famous Simone de Beauvoir, on ne naît pas femme, on le devient. You don't become, you're not born as a woman, but you become a woman. I can say that I was not born a feminist, but I became a feminist. So, for years I didn't like very much the feminists because, or rather, I thought a bit like them with regret also, because I had the impression that to be a good feminist you had to act like a man, succeed like a man. But it is my marriage who made me a feminist, because apparently I did not meet the expectations of my husband's family, because I worked. And I had a very big sense of injustice compared to my men colleagues, because they had no family to take care of when they went home, and they could go on assignment much more often than I did. So I became more or less a feminist, but I must say an individual feminist. I thought, and many feminists are still like that, I'm afraid. I didn't care very much about other women. I cared about my own sake, my own destiny. And I felt much better in the company of men. I didn't like very much women's movements. So when I retired as a journalist, I was given an assignment by a foundation pour le progrès de l'homme, which is a very rich foundation based in Switzerland. And they asked me to write a book about women and peace. And I had been more or less influenced. I was part of the women's liberation movement and all that, and also of political parties and of trade unions, and I had been influenced by the thinking of many feminists, especially in France and some also in the United States, that there is no reason that women should be more in favor of peace than men. Because if you believe that they are, you are an essentialist. And if you're an essentialist, you are not true to Simone de Beauvoir. So that was, I thought, okay, but yes, well, they were going to give me a lot of money so I could travel all over the world. So I went to travel all over the world. And one of the first countries I went to was Argentina. You probably all know the stories about what happened to the Madres de la Plaza de Mayo in the years of 75 with this horrible dictator Videla. Their children were picked up and disappeared, and afterwards they have known that they were tortured and killed. And so they started to turn around on the Plaza de Mayo, the place, the May Square, in front of the presidential residence every Thursday. And even now, they still go on doing that. I did it with them. They do it with white scarves with the names of their sons and daughters on it. And I found out how they met each other. They met each other because they were